Now then, I assume you're the real Iris?
Yes, I was just rescued from the sacred cavern.
I must say, you and your twin sister are indeed identical from what I can see. In any case, it appears everything's finally been cleared up. Mr. Godo, what happened to Dahlia Hawthorne?
If you ask me, Your Honor, it looks like she went back to the hell she came from.
It seems that Misty Fey wasn't the only victim in this crime. Maya Fey, as well as the young Pearl Fey, were also victims in this wicked and selfish plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
The tragedy of Medium Valley has finally come to an end, it seems. It would be best for everyone if no further attempt was made to ever channel that spirit again.
Your Honor?
Yes, what is it?
About this whole spirit medium thing? It's almost weird how comfortable you seem with the concept now.
Well, to be frank, my younger brother is quite judgmental.
Well, he is a judge.
He often criticised me for not studying hard enough. That's why I made a concerted effort to study upon the Karain channeling technique.
Isn't that the New Year's issue of Occult?
I've seen quite a few things in my many years on the bench. In all that time, I finally learned this one thing. Each case is different and takes place in its own world, if you will. In order to fully understand that world, first we have to immerse ourselves in it completely. And that's where my brother and I used to differ.
I never thought of it that way.
At any rate, it's time to pass judgment on the case of Iris of Hazakura Temple.
Objection!
You're a little too fast with that gavel, Your Honor.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Godo?
This trial isn't over yet, that's what he means.
What? Trite. Remember what Miss Evil Spirit said in her testimony? Huh? Dahlia's testimony?
I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and... It's strange, but I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that. I think I was stabbed. Just as Dahlia Hawthorne was about to attack Maya, she was stabbed and killed by someone.
Yes, that's right.
The person that was ultimately killed is the spirit medium that channeled Dahlia. At least doing him, Misty Fey. But who killed her? We still don't know who did it.
This isn't over.
Unless someone else is found guilty, the accused is still on trial. We can't let her walk until there is evidence that proves her innocence. No way.
But this court isn't prepared for any further testimony.
The prosecution's ready to call our final witness.
Final witness?
This one will clear up the whole mystery. The mystery of who killed Misty Fey.
Indeed.
Is it really all right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Of course it's all right, Madam Attorney.
Very well then. Who's this final witness?
Isn't it obvious? There's one person who saw the whole event and will put the final dagger in this case.
Someone who saw the murder take place?
The very person who saw her mother killed in front of her own eyes. You mean Maya? You can't. She can't testify after what she's just been through. We need to find the truth. The prosecution calls Maya Fey to the witness stand.
Very well, but first we'll take a brief recess. We have to wait for Miss Fey to recover before summoning her. Once we receive the doctor's permission, we will proceed with the trial.
Hey, Trite, I've got something to say to you, so listen up. What is it? I don't think much of you as a lawyer. It's always the same with you. You somehow manage to squeak by without a faint understanding of the case. Some beautiful woman always seems to come dashing in at the last minute to save you. You've got some nerve. But that's not going to happen this time. This time, you're going to have to do this by yourself.
That's enough. This court is now in recess.
I'm truly sorry about everything. You were working so hard to defend me, but I was missing all day and didn't even have a chance to talk.
She's right. When I met Iris at the training hall yesterday, they'd already switched places. Iris was inside the sacred cavern.
I wanted to at least be in the defendant's box today to root on you.
Well, this wasn't your fault. You were locked up the whole time. There's something more important than that, though. I have to ask you. Why did you help your sister out as much as you did?
Huh?
If you tried to get help at the sacred cavern yesterday, you wouldn't have spent an entire day locked up in there.
My sister. I felt sorry for her. She was abandoned by our mother and never got any love from our father either.
Yes, but it was the same for you too, wasn't it?
Yes, but at least I had Sister Bikini who was like a mother to me. If only Dahlia had come with me to Hazakura Temple. I always loved her. Dahlia was always so smart and strong. She never complained about a thing. That's why I promised her I would help her.
Are you talking about the fake kidnapping case from 11 years ago?
Yeah, I wanted to be useful to her in some way. But, as usual, I was too cowardly. At the last minute, I ran away. Because of that, Dahlia's stepsister Valerie ended up...
That was the case that wounded Mia so badly.
But things didn't end there, of course. Some people suspected my sister was involved in the murder.
Some people? You must mean...
Yes, 2 defense attorneys. Mia Fey and Diego Armando. After poisoning Mr. Armando, he was getting too close to learn the truth. Dahlia tried to kill the person who had unknowingly hid the poison for her. You.
That's right. Iris, there's one more thing I have to ask of you.
Yeah, what is it?
On the night of the murder, the person that cleaned up the corpse of the victim, Elise Doonim, was it really you?
Yes, it was me. That night, after I rang the nights out bell, I went back to my room. At around 10:30, I received a call on my cell phone.
There's a problem. Come to the inner temple right away.
I got on the snowmobile and headed for the inner temple, but... The path to the inner temple
The path to the inner temple was cut off, right?
Exactly. We can't just leave the body here. You've got to do it exactly as I say, got it? It was me. I was the one that received her body. The murder weapon had been left in her body so she wouldn't bleed too much. The staff that Mr. Khalees always held.
I knew it. So the actual murder weapon was the staff.
Yes, that's right. I brought the body back to Hazakura Temple on the snowmobile.
Why? Why did you alter the body?
I didn't want anyone to know the staff was the murder weapon. I didn't want to leave anything that would lead back to Misty Faye. So I dressed her in a robe and stabbed her with a shishoto. I wiped the blood off the stash blade and left it next to her on the ground.
Iris, just tell me one last thing. Tell me the name of the person who called your cell phone. The real killer.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rat. I can't do it. I can't say who did it.
I see. Defendant!
Yes?
The judge is calling you. He wants to see you in his chambers. He has some questions about Dahlia Hawthorne.
All right. Well then, I'll see you later. There's something I want to tell you.
Oh, okay. Something she wants to tell me? So it's true. Iris cooperated with the real killer. Maybe even from the very beginning.
Phoenix.
Mia? How's Maya doing?
Physically, I'm not worried. She'll recover completely. But emotionally, she's hurt very badly by this case.
I see. You don't mean she's learned who Elise Denim really was?
Yes. I went to the medical office and talked with her. I told her everything I knew.
But why?
Maya's stronger than you think. I knew she could take it. All of it.
What do you mean by that?
I want you to figure out that answer by yourself. The trial's about to restart. The real killer. Do you know who it is yet?
Iris wouldn't tell me who called her, but still. I think just maybe I know who it was. Wanna fucking clue me in then? That night, the victim was killed in the garden of the inner temple, and the criminal wasn't just there by accident, which means the killer knew of Dahlia's plan from the very beginning.
And one more thing. The victim was moved to the Hazakura temple side by pendulum. In other words, the criminal couldn't cross the bridge. That means they were stuck on the inner temple for almost an entire day.
Exactly. So the culprit was someone that wasn't in Hazakura Temple the following day.
That's as much help as I can give you.
Seriously, clue me in, would you, please? It can't be Elise Denim, surely.
The rest of the battle is yours to win or lose.
Okay, I've got it. Thank you, Mia. Finally, it's almost time to bring this case to an end. What exactly did Maya see anyway? And who was it that actually killed Misty Faye? Whoever it was, I have to prove it. Me, all by myself.
Now then, before we proceed further, I'm going to announce the results of the test we performed earlier.
Tests?
Yes, tests on the bloody dagger we found stuck in the pine tree.
Oh yeah, that! I'd completely forgotten about it. That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim. So what were the results? Was it the victim's blood, or...?
Due to time constraints, a full test wasn't possible. However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. That's all. Now then, let's restart this trial.
So it wasn't Mister's blood on the dagger. Then whose was it?
I'm sure both the defence and the prosecution know this, but this trial's rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their claims.
I understand, Your Honour. From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking, so let's finish this quickly. Agreed.
Very well. Please begin the last witness.
Witness, please tell us your name and occupation.
Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Rat and Co. Law Offices.
It's been so long since I've had to do mine, I kind of forgot how it went. Maya.
According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the Korean channeling technique.
I'm frightened. The Fey clan. I don't want any more to do with it.
Oh, Maya. The pain the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable.
Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the Inner Temple. And you witnessed the moment of Ms. Elise Dunham's murder. Is this correct?
I didn't see any...
Straighten up this instant, young lady.
Huh?
Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later.
But
Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen?
Witness, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor. I was passing through the garden on my way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against a stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!" Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness.
So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been this staff.
Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was.
Maya, think hard.
Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't.
Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone.
It seems it will be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination.
Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. Who else was on the inner temple side that night?
Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember her saying Iris would be coming later as well.
On the day of the incident, Edgeworth met Bikini at Hazakura. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said?
Well, let me think.
She seems confused. No wonder she's so tired.
No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come when I was prepping for the training.
Who did it? Who hit you?
Well, I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind.
You didn't see the person. But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was?
Let me think for a sec. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Maya's really having a hard time. What should I do? I'm sorry, Maya. Come on, Maya, this isn't making sense. Why didn't you see this person?
Well, let me think. It was... yeah, that's right. It was dark, that's it.
It was dark?
It's not good to have too much light around when someone's undergoing spiritual training.
Come to think of it, there was earlier testimony to that effect as well. So it was dark in the garden the night of the crime.
Which is why she didn't see her attacker. I thought maybe she was trying to hide something, but I guess not.
Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely
the spirit that was charmed by Elise Doonim, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Very well. Please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head?
What happened afterwards?
My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape, I think.
You think?
After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There was only two things rolling around in my mind at that time.
Well, now, this is beginning to get interesting.
So what were the two things rolling around in your mind?
My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid I was going to lose my memory. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was.
It's not at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. So what did you do then?
You think you screamed, but you're not sure?
Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, adult, child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought it was my last hope.
Sounds like poor little Mara's really out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do I do? Wait a minute, Maya. What's this my last hope stuff?
What? What do you mean by your last hope?
No, that's what you just said. You just said my last hope.
What? I said what?
Look, you were facing the attacker you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me."
Yeah.
But you testified you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope.
Oh, well, you know, that's like what you call when it happens.
Maya's not doing good up there.
Yeah, Oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at.
What did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming at for help. Ah!
What is it now?
I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out.
Huh?
Witness? Are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker there was another person?
I meant to keep that part a secret. What have I done?
It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say.
A ton of pressure.
You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, this information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony.
Sorry, Maya. It wasn't lit that night.
So there was a man standing behind your attacker?
Yeah.
That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise Doonim, otherwise known as Misty Fey, your mother.
The killer?
Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honour, I think she's in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed a huge problem with her testimony.
Huh? What do you mean? What problem?
Maya, on the night of the crime, the stone lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night.
No.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Godo, explain this! Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee. Stir. And that's the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait. Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Mr. Trite's words are the milk and you're the spoon. Your Honour. I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know. You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she'd make a mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not going to cut it. What did you say? If there was truly no light in the garden, then there was a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick.
May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker, and quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would have to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark she couldn't see the face of her own attacker.
No.
Order! 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 What in the world does all this mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Fay saw the real killer under pitch-black conditions? Trite, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene. Wait. There are some things you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godo. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark, and now you're trying to cover for him. Cover? For the man that killed her mother? There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
You talk a good game, Trite, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff.
No, Nick. Don't. Please stop.
Maya's dead set on protecting this guy, the man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer, an officer of the court, and I'm here to find the truth. Alright, Mr. Wright, time to show us what you've got. Who was the person you say Miss Fay saw in the darkness?
Take that!
Because it was pitch black, Miss Fay was able to recognise the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes.
What? How do you propose to show the court something like that?
It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of the night.
Conditions?
Your Honour, the defence officially requests all lights in the courtroom be turned off.
This is... but it can't be.
That was a nice bit of deduction, trite. Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw the night of the murder.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Godo, what's the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it?
Your Honour, you're asking the wrong person.
What do you mean by that?
If you've got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night was 3 glowing red lights.
Well, witness, answer the question.
You're wrong. I never saw that.
Maya!
I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man, for a totally different reason.
What?
Witness! Mr. Wright, what the...
Stop your chattering, Your Honour.
Shattering?
If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
All right. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
Yes, Your Honour. I didn't realise until after I woke up, but... When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit and the body was gone. And all the snow around the lantern had been carefully cleaned up too. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man.
It was after the crime took place the witness came to think the killer was a man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honour.
No need to apologise. It was Mr. Godo said. You're utterly exhausted. It's only natural you'd be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
So you lost consciousness when you were in the garden, is that right?
Yeah, I think it happened when the victim was stabbed.
So the person who carried you into the inner temple
Could only have been the killer.
That's what I think too.
So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right?
Yes, I think so.
Why'd the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something the killer desperately wanted to hide. I don't know. It looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. The torches were lit. Yes, that's how I noticed the whole scene had changed. I'm going to say the killer lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be?
The killer probably let him see it being impossible to do cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body?
That's true. It's hard to see how it would be advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya.
Very well, let's hear some more about the condition of the crime scene.
So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow? It did look really odd. The snow was removed in an unnatural looking rectangular slope shape around the lantern. There was a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy. Way too heavy for me to use.
Good fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take the snow away?
There's one thing I can think of. You say onto the victim's blood sprayed on the snow? Yeah. The area I collapsed and ended up being splattered. In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation.
Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, there's no need to remove that amount.
That's true. He could have scooped up just the snow that was stained with blood.
It looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue.
But I think this will help explain them. So you're saying you never saw the killer, right? Yeah. Earlier, you very clearly stated that you saw a man behind your attacker. Nick, I'm sorry. The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble. Moving the body by pendulum, manipulating the crime scene. For what purpose? Why do all that? Marie Myers no more than she's letting on. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. Why'd the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something the killer desperately wanted to hide. The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something. You did? Yes. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me, for my sake.
What? Hiding it for you?
Everyone knew I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini came back and looked at the garden, she may have thought you had done it.
No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing happened?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. They did it for your sake? Well, if the body and blood hadn't been removed, I would have immediately been the prime suspect, right?
Yes, I suppose that's true.
Yes, and if that happened, the body would have caused some other problems too. If her real identity had come out right then, it would have been terrible. Master of the Crane killed my own daughter. I don't think Ma would have been able to handle that.
But still, it's rather difficult to fathom the killer's motive. What reason is there to go through that much trouble to protect you?
I mean, despite... Because Godo missed the blood on the lantern because he couldn't see it. And I'm guessing he cleaned up all the snow as much as he did because, again, he can't see blood on white, so... The body of Elise Dunin was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspect was covered in blood, was scooped and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that is somewhat odd. Oh, and what would that be? You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Godo. The message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern?
You're right! Order! Order! But Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene?
Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to remove the body and remove the bloody snow, but then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, bloody writing.
But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behaviour? Why would this killer move the body and remove all that snow, but leave the bloody writing on the lantern?
I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why'd the killer leave the written message?
The killer didn't notice it. Prosecutor Godo, earlier in this trial you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought.
The real killer wanted to disguise the fact the crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean they didn't notice it. But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way a normal person would miss something as glaring as that. You're right. There's no way any normal person would.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright?
There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing bloody writing altogether.
Who would that be? Who's the person who could have failed to notice the bloody writing?
The guy who didn't see it the first time, Judge. Keep up. Mr. Godo, this is what you said yesterday. My eyesight's pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godo?
This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented.
This lantern, there's something written on it. It's written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern is as clean as a whistle. Mr. Godo, just admit it. There are certain colours you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before, during the poisoning case at TRIBULATIONS. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one who can't see them?
So then, Mr. Godo, are you admitting it? Are you admitting you can't see the red whiting on the lantern? Hey, Gramps, don't you know? That's the reason I don't drink red tea. I wasn't sure until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godo's the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godo, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Dunim, aka Misty Fey. It's hard to believe this may be true, however. Once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you. Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on. How does a little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written there. I'm certain the killer wasn't able to see the colour red. This is rich. Do go on, Trite. The answer's right there at the crime scene. In the snow. The snow? How so? For example, why'd the killer move all that snow? Your Honour, you said it yourself. If you wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not just take that area? Why didn't you just take that area? Oh, could it be? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow, and so had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure where the blood had landed and removed the whole area. Isn't it more likely the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark? Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine. It seems that once again this trial's had an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godo?
Hold it. Wait just a minute. Maya.
What is it, witness?
Mr. Godo isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after the bridge got fixed up.
Maya. You can't testify to something like that.
Why? What do you mean? I might not...
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist. She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow. Are you senile, old man? We established this a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, that's right.
But please, Your Honour, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me.
Maya, do you plan to cover for Godo no matter what the cost? If that's the case, I've got no choice. Your Honour, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her. Ah, nicely done, Trite. Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened to the inner temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling, and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there in the inner temple too.